Let's move on to Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin.
Bitcoin putting real money onto a system that we don't even know who created it.
How high will Bitcoin go in 2024? Bitcoin has the ability to blow your mind in 2024 and possibly even 2025. In fact, it also has the possibility of making a lot more money than your traditional savings, stocks, and other assets. And today we're going to look at exactly how high Bitcoin can go in 2024. Now, very quickly, if you look at this moving chart, which looks at the growth of putting $100 a month into savings, gold, and Bitcoin, you can already see that Bitcoin since its inception has done pretty well. And to add further support to Bitcoin doing its thing, despite its volatility, which can't be ignored, it has also outpaced bonds too, as identified by Forbes earlier this year. Now, just some outline figures for you, my friends. The all-time high for Bitcoin was £68,789. And as of recording this video, we are around 39% down from that figure, which has been a result of the Black Swan event. And of course, now coming out of a bear market, which proceeds to follow the 4-year cycle. And for context, this is where every 4 years there is a decrease in the rate at which Bitcoins are created, ensuring a steady supply in circulation. Remember friends, Bitcoin is not like your normal currency, i.e. fiat, that can be printed as and when, which of course you know, my friends, massively decreases your purchasing power. Now, before I go any further, remember nothing I say is financial advice. This is deemed by many people as a high-risk speculative asset, but what I am about to share in this video may at least, and this is my hope, my friends, at least have you researching further into Bitcoin and making your own decisions as to whether you want to get in on some BTC action. That's an abbreviation for Bitcoin, my friends. Now, when it comes to price, you will see some people who will say Bitcoin is worthless, slow, and will eventually go to zero. They may be right in many years' time, but in 2024 and 2025,
I don't think so.
But then you also have what we call meme boys, which is basically anyone saying something that sounds so outlandish to many of us. And between both these extremes, I believe there will be a good chance that one of the few scenarios I'm going to suggest in this video could essentially play out and at least give you some food for thought. Now, in order for Bitcoin to increase its price, there needs to be many things that take place, and boy, 2024 could be a potentially exciting moment for Bitcoin. You see, there is a Bitcoin halving coming up, and historically every time this happens you tend to see all-time highs. Now, there is this saying, buy the rumor, sell the news, and there is a probability that with more people and more money coming into this space than there was many years ago, people are already anticipating that price, and when it actually happens, i.e. the halving, it may just be an anticlimax, meaning the euphoria some moon boys are after may not actually come to fruition. But usually, even after the halving, up to 6 to 9 months, you would start to see a rally again into the asset that is becoming more and more adopted and scarce in its supply. Now, this isn't the only thing happening. There is also a Bitcoin ETF approval on the horizon. Well, potentially. Heck, you may even see one by the time this video is out. Or not. Because if there's one thing in 4 years I've learned in this space, things rarely work out how you think. But a Bitcoin ETF essentially provides a financial product that allows investors to gain exposure to the price movements of Bitcoin without actually holding the asset itself, which in my opinion is a very, very bullish scenario. More eyes on Bitcoin, more adoption, more FOMO, well, the price could very well get a nice little pump.
Bitcoin is now trading above $42,000, reaching levels this month we haven't seen since April of 2022. And for his take on what is coming next for crypto,
it's going to be a massive event for the industry. October, the overall market cap for digital assets sat at around $1 trillion. It's now about $1.6 trillion. We think by the end of 2025, you'll be sitting at about $2.5 trillion in overall market cap.
But what are the two scenarios I think could happen? And what are the prices that Bitcoin could get to? Well, the first is that due to big players now taking notice, and I'm talking your BlackRocks of the world and other large institutions, there could be a possibility that they may be ready to manipulate the space a lot more than it already is. With that being said, things may not go according to the usual 4-year cycle that everyone is anticipating, which may mean, well, we'll see an all-time high sooner than you anticipated, i.e. the Q4 or early 2025 that many say. Because remember friends, bull runs can last for about a year, and if everyone knows this, especially the big players, then we may not get the crazy gains and it may stop all of a sudden. Because the psychology of the crypto space is crazy. As prices rise, your pockets, at least from a number on the screen perspective, tend to get higher, and you start to believe it will go forever. I've been there and it's not good, my friends. You need to take profits and have a plan. So in that scenario, there is a part of me thinking to take profits as we approach all-time highs and just hope that I haven't missed too much of the FOMO and all-time high that could come in afterwards. However, the other scenario many people talk about is a super cycle theory. Could an approved ETF a halving and institutions now getting into the space cause more money than ever to be pumped into the crypto world, causing Bitcoin to explode and shock the world and reach figures that, well, just seem bonkers. Because there is an expectation that the market will be worth 16 trillion by 2030, and I've heard higher ones than that, which makes that one quite conservative. But given it's 1.7 trillion at the minute, that's an 8x on what's already there. Now, does that mean Bitcoin does an 8x? Not quite. But here are some actual numbers people are suggesting that may give you something to consider. Now, there are many experts on Twitter who believe the price of $250,000 or thereabouts is a fair estimation for what Bitcoin should be worth.
We're as optimistic about Bitcoin as we ever have been, but there are a few regulatory and tax uncertainties. It was as high as 50% at one point last year when there was great uncertainty around all of the turmoil in crypto generally.
Places like Coin Bureau share this sentiment, as they believe the bullish factors and retail that will FOMO into the space will cause this to happen, unless of course there's a black swan event. Other more realistic estimations fall around the $100,000 mark. The reason being is that it's a psychological number, and as we surpass the old all-time high, many will start to see the 100,000 mark as the next potential target. And usually, my friends, the market does the opposite of what we all expect it to do. So perhaps a more realistic, or should I say safer, in inverted commas, prediction would be between an all-time high and $100,000. Now that may well look like a crazy low figure for some of you moon boys, but for me, one thing I would not be doing is holding my money waiting for £250,000. I would take profits, my initial stake out, and leave only a tiny bit should we actually land on the moon. Friends, let me know what you think in the comments and where exactly you think the price of Bitcoin will go.